All right, now we're recording. Good thing we didn't cover anything major. So yeah, just kind of grab a barcode and you can just drop it in to your project as a separate element. And you can see kind of here, like on this preview for this project, this was a flattened version. There's no layers here. It's just a JPEG at this point, but there it is. Okay. So again, it just makes it more legit, makes it more reasonable, and looks good too. All right, other questions? All right, so we're going to get into a little more Illustrator today. Quick review on some of the things we've been going through with Illustrator. I have a short video that I'm going to show you guys by Aaron Draplin. We'll talk about him a little bit, and logo design and kind of the process of doing that. We're going to be starting in on our first Illustrator project, which is going to be a logo design for a travel agency. So we'll chit chat about that a little bit. And then, you know, if you're already done your project, awesome. You can start the concept and get ideas going for the logo. And again, we'll go over that more next week. But I want you guys to kind of start up on that and get your head kind of wrapped around it, do a little bit of research and such on that. So let's go back to quickly with some basic Illustrator refresher. So if there's questions before we start that, anything? Everybody okay so far? So questions about Illustrator, things we've been doing. Everybody kind of seem to be okay with what we've been reviewing with the tools and such. Anybody lost? Nobody's lost. Yeah. All right. So let's quickly go through some of the things we've gone through. We've done with the direct and the select tools. We've done the shape tools. We've done the pen tool, add and subtract points, anchor points, and I'm gonna talk through all these today. There is I think we talked about the line tool, which is, where did my line tool go? Under here, under the arc, there's the arc and line, inspire. I think we demoed that. So again, those are tools you should know. And we did some basic type. Okay, we did the basic type tool. And then we also played with the touch type tool the other day also. Okay, so we're on our way to becoming photo or Illustrator experts here. And I'm just going to kind of go through a quick little demo, and then we'll get into the video for today that I want to show you guys. And then we'll go from there. All right, questions before I start? Anybody? The recorded videos will be up. Yeah, the videos should be up. I think I don't know if I put it up on the website, but it's up on YouTube. So the question, so I will definitely, I just uploaded, I think yesterday's. It just takes time to process these things to get them up, but we'll get today's up and Tuesday's up, and I think you guys should be fine. I don't think we're moving too fast here. All right. Anything? That's good. All right. So we're getting into the season. What season? It's the pumpkin season. So I want to kind of go through, and I'm going to use drawing a jack-o'-lantern, just a primitive one, as kind of a way of going through these tools, just to, again, refresh yourselves with it. And feel free, if you have Illustrator there on your computer and you want to work along with it, feel free to do so. So I'm going to start with the shape tool. I'm going to do an ellipse tool, and I'm going to hold the shift as I draw, and I get a nice clean round circle, as you can see here. There's no fill on it, so I want to give it a color, right? Pumpkin's going to have to be some orange. I'm going to give it a little bit of orange in there. It's got a little black stroke, which I think I might up it just a little bit just so you guys can see it as we start to work in our drawing. So we have a pumpkin, but pumpkins really aren't round. They're a little bit oblong kind of shape. So what I'm gonna do is gonna select this with the direct select tool. And when I do that, you see we get the anchors. Okay. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use these anchors and the handles on the Bezier curves and kind of tweak it a little bit. Because remember, pumpkin's got to have a little bit of, they're like a little squashy shape, right? They're round, but they're not quite perfect round. So I'm just kind of modifying this initial circle to give me kind of the shape that I want for my pumpkin. So you can see it's not perfectly round anymore. We just kind of reshaped it a tiny little bit to give it maybe more of a pumpkin shape. Now, I don't want it to kind of look like it's floating in the air. So I'm going to use my line segment tool. And again, this just draws a line, just a stroke. There is no fill on it. And that's going to be the base that where we're going to put this. And I'm going to go up to my properties. And if I click on the word stroke here, we can see we can change the ends a little bit, the caps. I call it the end of the butt caps. I'm going to make it rounded just because I want it a little bit rounded, just softens it up. And when I off click it here, you'll see there's kind of a little bit of a roundness to it. So instead of just chopping off, there's a little round. And I'm just going to move this thing down a little bit so the pumpkin's kind of sitting on top of the line that I've done. So we've got a segment tool. We did the round ellipse tool, and then we went back and modified it with the direct select tool. So we clicked on the points and made those modifications to it so it looks a little more right. Now, pumpkin got to have some eyes. So I'm going to give it, so we could do some star eyes. And I'm just going to click here and it's telling me how many points. I'm going to go with the 5-point star. And again, these are all adjustable. If you want to change those, you can do that. We've got that. So I'm going to change the color just so we can see it a little better when we come in. And I'm just going to give it the, we'll give it a color fill. Give it a green fill for now. And I'm going to just scale it down, right? I want to just scale it. If I hold the shift, I get a proportional scale. Okay, so holding shift and scaling it down keeps it all proportional. And I'm just going to kind of drag it over, and the pumpkin's going to be somewhere there's one eye. Now I need to have 2 eyes. Most pumpkins have 2 eyes. Hold the Option key down and drag. And what I'm doing is just copying it. And you'll see there, you see a little pink line that's coming up off the center. That's basically letting you know they're aligned. Okay, so I could go up with it, and that's perfectly fine, but they're not aligned. And if I want to align and I didn't draw them out perfectly, I can select them both and come up here to the align. And then I can align by the bottom here. That just kind of brings them both together. Okay, so we've got the pumpkin eyes that are here. We got to have a stem on the pumpkin. So I'm going to use the pen tool to draw the stem. And again, I'm just going to kind of click on where I want this thing to be. And we've got that. And that's kind of the stem, but obviously I want to make a change of color. I'm going to make the stem brown. And I want to reshape it. So right now it's got this square edge at the bottom. It's a little round at the top. That's pretty nice. I'm going to use the anchor point tool, and I'm going to convert these corners. So I'm going to click on the point and just drag. And by doing that, you see I get the little handles, the Bezier curve. So I'm converting it from basically a 90-degree corner to a curve. And likewise, I'm going to do here, same thing. And again, you just kind of twist it out. And that's going to allow me to come back and modify. So I'm going to now select my direct select tool, and I can put this in, and I can use that to help reshape this stem itself. Okay, so now we have the stem that's on top of the pumpkin. Okay, and again, I can rotate this if I want to. I could make it a little bit straighter if I choose to. I can also grab it and shrink it down or scale it down. Okay, so I'm basically squishing it to get the size that I want. Okay, so I can kind of do some pretty cool modifications once I start to build this up. So now we have the stem of the pumpkin. Okay, and a lot of times we want to put like maybe some highlights or some shadows in there. And I'm going to do a very, very basic shadow. So I'm just going to use my ellipse tool and I'm going to just kind of draw an ellipse. And I know it's going to be on the side there. And I'm going to give that a color of black. So here's my fill, here's my stroke. I'm going to give it just a black fill. And I'm going to rotate a little bit. So we're in there. And then I want to come back and modify because right now it's too perfect for me. So I'm going to come back in and select this. I'm going to zoom in so I can see my points. So I have 4 points right now. But if I want to add some points, again, I'm going to come back to the add anchor points or delete. In this case, I'm going to add. And I'm just going to put a couple in. So I'm going to just kind of click on the path and then add it an anchor. And I'm going to put one more down here. So again, I could start to make some modifications on there. So with that anchor, I can kind of readjust how I want this to be. Okay, and I can change the points and use the Bezier curves in the hand. So what started again here as an oval has now become something else as I start to modify it by adding or deleting points and reshaping it. Okay, so a lot of times we kind of draw things as a kind of a base. In this case, we drew a base shape and then we come back in and modified it using the select tool and also the direct select tool. And also in this case, we added a few points into the shape of that object to kind of give us more of what we're trying to do. Okay, so again, everything in Illustrator tends to be modifiable. So don't think of it as an oval, think of it as the start of a shape that you can come back in and modify as you need to. Now, we're going to want to give it a mouth and a nose in this particular case. So I'm going to do a triangle, I think. I'm just going to, I clicked on the octagon, the polygon shape. And if I click on the tablet here or my artboard, it tells me how many sides do you want. I'm going to say 3. I'm going to make it a triangle. And that's what came up. And I want to give it a fill of the green again. Let's get the green. There's the green. And I'm going to scale it down. Okay, so again, I'm going to hold my select and my shift as I scale. And that'll give me a proportional scale. And you can see, again, we're getting all these kind of guides that are popping up to let me know where things are. So Illustrator works pretty good about doing that. And I'm going to bump the stroke up a little bit just to kind of match it with the other one. For now, let me see, that was at 4. That's at 2. So let me make that one 4 also. So I can change the stroke up here, or I can change the stroke on the properties panel. So again, there's 2 places to do it. It's really your choice as to where you would want to enlarge your stroke from, or even do the fill colors or change the colors. So colors, we can double click on the fill. We can do a drop down up here, or we can come to the swatches here. So long as you have that item selected, whatever color you pick, it will change to. Okay. All right, so we're on the way to making a pumpkin. Again, if anything is confusing or you're like, what was that? Just let me know. We'll go back through it. All right, so then now lastly, we need a mouth. So again, I'm going to start, I think, here with an oval. And I'm just going to kind of draw it in roughly there. And then I'm going to want to modify it because I don't know, you want to have just a big, big mouth. So I'm selecting the direct select tool and a point, and I'm just going to kind of pull that point down a little bit. Okay, so now it's kind of more of a smushy mouth. And then let's zoom in because let's give them a couple teeth. So I'm going to do a tooth there, and I want to shape it a little bit. And then I'm going to flatten it at the top. So it fits in there. And I'm actually going to make that orange because that's going to stay orange, right? And then I'm going to duplicate that, holding the option and drag over so it's got a couple fangs. They're not sharp fangs, they're just fangs. Okay. And then what we want to do is we're going to start to build that up. So we've got the pumpkin here, and we've got the teeth, the fangs that are going on. Okay. And what I'm going to do is I want to make the fangs a part of the background. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select those two, and then I'm going to select the pumpkin itself. So I've selected all three items here. And this is where I'm going to come over to my Pathfinder. And what I want to do is I want to kind of bring them together. I want to unite them. Okay, so I'm going to go through this and hopefully this unite should work. Let me try. Nope, that didn't. Okay, so I have to go, okay, undo that. And then let's see, I want to merge. No. Oh, I got to make the whole first. That's what's screwing me up here. So let me do this first. Before I do all that, let me exclude this. I want to take out the mouth. So I'm going to take the mouth, I'm going to take the pumpkin itself, and I'm going to minus the front because the mouth is forward. And I did that. So now the mouth has gone away. And we have the teeth there, but the teeth are kind of floating. So I want to kind of make them all a part of this shape. And I think if I do it now, there we go. So now it's become a part of the big pumpkin itself. Okay. And then I'm going to move this object to the back. So arrange, it's in the back, and that gives me my eyes back that I want to work with. Okay, so now if I touch this, you can see it's changing, it's selecting, and if I change the color, you can see it's all one. So these two little fangs are now a part of the big unit here. And I also want to cut out these. So I know normal pumpkin would have the inside, but what I'm going to do is just kind of cut these out for the sake of cutting them out. So I'm going to select, in this case, all three of these items, come to my Pathfinder, and in this case, I want to minus the front. That star and a triangle are on the front, and they're going to be cut out of the pumpkin itself. Oops. Why didn't I do that? That's strange. Hold on. I don't know why I'm losing one. Hold on. That's very, very strange. I'm going to check my layers here. They both just pass. Sometimes the computer doesn't do what you want it to do. You cut it out and I was right, but I don't know why it's deleting that other one. So, okay, I don't know. Something was weird going on. It looks like there was a spare one built into there. So now those eyes are cut out. And again, it's cut out from this pumpkin shape. Okay, so it's totally gone. And I'm going to do this here. So again, we started with this kind of circle. We squished it a little bit. We put these other elements on top and did that. And I don't know how my teeth go. Where did my teeth go now? All right, let me try this one more time. I think it might be there's something here. Did I ungroup those? One sec. Something does that wrong. That's okay. I'm not going to fight it. I'm going to work with it. Wow, that's bizarre. I got rid of my mouth again. I don't know what's going on with my file. I did something going too quick, but we'll put in 2 teeth now and call it a day. Rectangle. Here, I rounded it off a little bit. Zoom in. Again, don't be afraid to zoom in to see your stuff. Sometimes we want to get in close to get these points because they're just too small, okay? Remember, because we're independent, resolution independent, we can get as tight as we want, and it's still gonna look good. And copy that option over, get 2 teeth, center, pretty close. And let me see if I can get that to join now. Did it work or not? Hold on. I think that's good. So what we've done is we've cut out this. So if we have something behind this, we'll be able to do it. Now this element, the stem, you can see got pushed behind at some point. I'm going to select those 2 items. Look at 2 shapes, and I want to make sure I group them. So Command G, or just go under Object Group, and then I'm going to do Object Arrange and bring to the front because I want that on the front of the pumpkin. And now there are groups, I can just kind of pick it and move it around. This is all this together because we've cut those shapes out. These are not separate shapes anymore. These have become cutouts on the pumpkin. And if I was to draw some kind of background, and we'll give it a color there, and I move Object, arrange this to the back, you can start to see the pumpkin coming through with its cutouts. And I can also use my layers panel to arrange things. So right now we drew that rectangle, and I can literally just kind of drag it down to the bottom of my sublayers here. And what I often do with something like this is I will lock it, because as I start to grab things and want to work, it gets in the way. You're like, oh, I got him. Oh, I got that. Next thing you know, you're grabbing the circle and you didn't mean to move that. So in order to save yourself some hassles, I tend to do something like this and lock it down. So now if I select, I'm only selecting what I want. I'm not getting the background in this case, also selected. Just a kind of a good way to work, and it'll be save yourself some frustration as you go, not to select those kind of things. Because next thing you know, you're going to get frustrated. I know from a experience. Looks like that line crooked. Okay. So we've got a jack-o'-lantern going on here. Now, you may be into the pumpkin spirit. I don't know. I see them out everywhere. The pumpkins are at the Trader Joe's. Looks like Trader Joe's has the cheapest prices from what I've seen so far at the stores. But you can look up pumpkin carving templates and stuff like that. You can make up your own, right? You can kind of create your own from that. I'm gonna Google real quick just so you guys can see it. Carving ideas. These are getting complicated, but obviously you can make these up yourself, right? You don't need to do that. And then we just do pumpkin carving templates. I'm not worried about free because we can do our own. And basically you can kind of just draw this up in Illustrator. Okay, so then you can wrap this on your, print it out, wrap it on your pumpkin and go. And you can see, obviously you can get quite complex. Move that over with these type of things. And they're kind of cool, right? And they've been popping up all over the place now. And again, you could do something simple by just drawing it on. But if you want something more complicated, you know, you can make up your own, you know, even in Photoshop. I'm sorry, in Illustrator, and just kind of draw that. Remember, the black in this case will be cut out. Okay, so you know, another reason to become proficient with Illustrator is you can make up your own pumpkin things. And again, it don't have to be, it could be anything, right? You're just gonna have to take that shape and break it down into something much more simple that can be, in this case, carved out of a pumpkin. Okay. Star Wars. Wow, that's pretty sweet. Let me see these things. 5 free Star Wars. Chewbacca is pretty cool. This is an Illustrator project. I'm not going to make you do one, but just kind of breaking it down to simple terms. Something that becomes iconic. This layer looks pretty nice too. Okay, so if I was going to do one of these, I would probably, it's a looks like a JPEG. I'm going to, let me open it up in Illustrator. So here it is. I don't need this part down there. I'm going to image trace this. Okay, so I've got the image trace, and I'm going to go with a black and white. And I want to see if that works. It did work pretty good. Looks like it grabbed it. Just undo it. Yeah, got everything. So image trace, black and white, object. Let me just double check it all. How's it selected? Oops, it is all together. Object. Why is it not? Expand. And then I'm going to ungroup it. Now each one of these has become separate parts. The reason being is I don't need the background. I'm going to take that off anyway. And I don't need this thing down here. And there's some parts that got dropped in. And I can print this out, lay this on top of my pumpkin, and I can scale this. Remember, because now we are resolution independent. As I scale into this, you can see they're just points. And I can come back through, either A, clean it up a little bit if I want to, or B, scale it up to fit a bigger pumpkin, right? This is 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper, but if I need a bigger piece of paper, I can now use my Artboard tool and just kind of draw that up. And I can change my Artboard up here with the height and width. So if I need know my pumpkin is 12 inches wide, okay, by we'll say 10 tall, that's my pumpkin area. All right, and now I can take my artwork and I can scale this down, in this case, to make it fit on there. And then I can print that out. Okay, and I know it'll print out as one big unit. So check, that's all grouped. Group that up so I can move it around better. There we go. Okay, and then you can print it out and you can have a pretty awesome Thanksgiving. Okay, get in there with your little pumpkin knives, cut that out, and that'll look good. Good, good, good. Let's see if I need to keep that one. Questions on this and how to kind of build this all together? Again, we're using all the tools here. Again, this is a quick example, but you can see you can get quite complicated with this as we start to go. Any questions on any of these tools we went through? Anybody? Everybody asleep? All right. I'm going to pause the recording real quick. I want to show you a video by Aaron Draplin here. And if I don't pause it, YouTube gets all wacky with the copyright issues. So I will put a link to this video up online on the website. So we won't have a problem with that. And put that into the logo design, our company. What would you put into making this up? Okay. So think about the elements. And again, don't go with necessarily the first cliche. I want you to kind of spend some time and sketch out some ideas. As Aaron was saying, it's a lot quicker to put it on paper than it is to build them into the computer. And then you're going to come back and build them into the computer. Okay. And we got time for this. This is not going to be due next week or anything like that. We've got some time, and we're going to go through and build some more logos starting next week. So next week we'll get through your projects. We're going to do some social, and then we're also going to build some logos up. And I'll give you a spec sheet as to when the logo part will be due. Okay. And we'll go through some of the elements of things that are in the logos and how to pull those things together. And again, working with the type. Okay. So I want you to kind of like brainstorm on this. Okay. Don't just kind of go with that first instinct. Look at logos. If you see something you like, cool, this is different, save it, right? I like kind of, maybe there's some elements here, put that into a folder. Or I'm kind of digging where I like the stack where we've got an icon of some sort, and we've got some nice wording here. So there's a lot of stuff out there, and a lot of these are like for sale, but I think we could do some nice stuff. You know, that's kind of gorgeous. That's a beautiful like little illustration there. So don't get stuck on the first page, and because they all kind of start to blend in to be together. I know you guys can be creative with what you're doing, you know, and even something like that's kind of nice, right? It's different, it's standing out, and that's what you kind of want. You want to kind of make something that might stand out in the world of things. Okay, so a travel-based logo is what we're going to start with. All right, so this weekend it's preliminary ideas, looking at online, getting some research, coming up with the name of your company, and then start to just kind of sketch out some stuff. If you want to get working in Illustrator, that's fine, but start with some ideas and some sketches. Just doodle some things out. The doodles, the sketches, these are all for you. They're not for anybody else to look at. Okay, you don't even have to turn them in or anything. This is a way to get your ideas out. Okay, so that's important to do. And if you haven't already, I need to get you a record album. So, you know, send those over to me. Make sure you're putting your name on the file itself. That'll make life a lot easier. Okay. Questions?
Yeah, about the logo.
Yes.
It's, if I'm understanding, it's for a fictitious company.
Fictitious company, yeah.
Okay, now can it be a company who doesn't necessarily have a product, but is a social group?
So what are you thinking? Like Sierra Club travel, something like that?
Yeah, something like that. You know, not those specifically, but something like that. You know, a social group that has a couple of common interests in particular.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, and I think that's really kind of, from what I've seen, honestly, from just a sense of companies, not travel, but companies in general, the nichier, the better. Meaning, you know, like focus in. Don't try to necessarily make your travel agency for everybody. I mean, we already have Expedia and we have these kind of things. But if you're, let's say, a travel agency that specializes in adventures in Utah, I mean, that's very specific, and there's a lot of cool icons that you can use into your logo. And that's good. People want that stuff. I mean, you're going to trust the guy who's specialist in Utah travel and adventures over Expedia, right? Because we know they're just pumping stuff out. Okay. So yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Because
feel free to narrow it down.
Yeah, mine is basically two major interests that would be a group of people that share those two particular interests.
Yeah, that'd be totally fine. Totally fine.
Okay, and are we just doing a logo for this, or are we doing something else for this?
We're gonna do a poster after this. So we're gonna do a travel poster, and basically your logo is gonna go somewhere on that travel poster as we get down. But we're gonna do a travel poster illustration. As a
Okay,
second project.
yeah, I got you. And when will the spec sheets on this be posted?
It'll be next week. We've got some time on this. This is not due next week, or probably, you know, at least 2 weeks on this or more, and then we'll get into the illustration. And that pretty much will take us close to the end of, or somewhere in end of November, and then we've got a couple weeks to work in the InDesign, which will finalize the class. So
Okay, and then a question about the albums, because I'm a little bit behind the curve on that.
no problem. No problem.
Last week, or excuse me, last class period, I think it was, you went over, and I have to review the video to get it right. You went over how to basically replace your what did you call it? Your mock-up file with artwork.
Yes.
Well, is that actually required for the assignment?
Yeah, I would like you guys to mock them up. So the mock,
Okay.
this mock-up file, I'll double click it. This is on the website. You can download this.
Right, yeah, I see
Okay,
it.
and then you're basically like, hey, I've got to put my artwork in, and we're going to double click, say, on the cover. It's just real simple. Double click. Here's where I want it to go. It opens up into this other template file. I'm going to, in this case, open up one of my files here. Let me just grab one. Here's the cover. It's in a flattened JPEG because I built it up elsewhere. I'm going to copy, Command A, Command C. I'm going to paste it. I have to obviously scale it because it was too big to start with. And that's okay. I built this up at like 12 by 12, and this template file's obviously smaller, but it's still the same proportions. Okay, so it's
Okay, okay, I got you.
right.
Okay.
Then I hit save, apply, save, and I can close this out. Close out that one, close out this, and now you see it's been turned into the mockup.
Okay, and then these instructions you just went over, is that still on the recording, or do we stop recording?
No, we're on the recording. I went back to recording.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you very much.
Okay. Other questions? Let me stop my share and make sure we got everybody. Anybody that's came in later? Attendance wise, we got anybody pop in mid class today? Looks like we're good. Other questions? They will be on the website. Question about the recording. Right now they're up on YouTube. I'll save this today, and I promise to get those up later this afternoon. Sometimes it takes a while to upload depending on what's going on with servers and stuff. But I'll get today's video up, and I know last one I think I put it up, but I'm not sure. I'll have to look at my YouTube channel. We'll get everything up along with the I want to get you guys a copy of the Aaron Draplin video, so I'll put that back in there. You can link to that directly.
Thank you very much.
Okay. All right. Other questions? Anybody else?
Yeah, I have a question.
Yes.
So I was working on the back cover for the album,
Yes.
and I was editing it or whatever, and then I had gone back because I realized I missed something, and then when I went back to include something else, it wouldn't let me because it said something about the layers were locked.
Okay, so if you get a lock layer, one of the things that you can duplicate a layer, and that will unlock it. And then you can just double check too. If you click on the layer and go up here to the pop out, there's like this little hamburger icon, and it should say here it's locked or unlocked. So here, this will lock the layers that I've selected. So you should be able to unlock that. oftentimes when you bring in a brand new layer, like open up a file, that first layer is locked. Okay, so if I just, I end up just kind of duplicating it. So we open that up. See, it says lock. There's a little lock on it. Okay, so I can either, basically, the quickest way is just kind of dupe it anyway. And now you can see the difference. Unlocked, locked. Okay, but if I'm here, it should be able to do it. It's not unlocked for me. So if you're getting that locked icon like that, just duplicate that layer in this case, and that would do it. This is how you lock it. Okay, but because it's that background layer, it's just kind of, they sometimes work a little weird. Just the way it opens up in this particular case. Okay, so I'm trying to cancel. Okay, so dupe it. Okay, but if it's like the fifth layer down the line that's already locked, you should be able to select it and then put the little lock icon, and that turns it off.
Professor,
Okay.
you're not screen sharing.
What's that? Oh, I'm not sure.
Oh, you're not screen sharing.
Gosh, yes. Speak up quicker here. Hold on.
But mine is saying that I cannot use the move tool because no layers are selected.
Okay, so you got to do, well, you got to select the layer. So either go over to your layers panel and click it. You can see here I'm clicking back and forth now. We are sharing. Okay, or make sure you have on your select tool up here. I like to do auto select because that will, whatever I click, it will select that layer. And I was showing about the lock. If you have this file layer was locked, that's a little icon. Just click on the lock key. The lock will undo it. On the background, there a lot of times it's kind of built in, so it's just kind of duplicate it. And now you got a second layer. Don't worry about this one down here anyway. And if that one's locked, you can unlock it there.
Okay, I'm gonna test that out. Thank you.
Okay. Other questions? All right, anything else? So concept, brainstorm on your logos, and fill in your, or turn in your albums if you haven't done it. Okay, like I know I haven't gotten everybody's yet. I should be getting like, you know, in this class we have like 25 at least of you guys, 27 emails. So I know I haven't gotten all those yet. So get those to me. There's no deductions at this point, so just get them to me. I want you guys to work and be creative, so I'm giving you guys some extra time, and we'll start to go through those next week. Quickly look at them, talk about them, and we'll go forward from there. Okay, and then work on your logo. Start to think about your travel agency and what you want to do there, and research. Look at stuff online. All right. Other questions? Anything else, guys? All right. Have a great weekend. We'll see you on Tuesday. Enjoy yourselves and have fun with Illustrator.
All right, will do.
Great week.
Thank you.
Professor Daniel, may I talk to you for a sec?
Yes.
I actually got like 3 questions. Well, firstly and firstmost, like I already did the albums all gathered up into one single file, but
Okay, that's perfect.
the only problem is that when I try to reduce it from like, give me a sec, from 73 KB to like an MB, it wouldn't let me because I feel like there's like a limited space, or like there was a limit of it. So that's an issue. And I don't know if like the KBs like tends to be smaller or bigger than an MB or.
Well, the KB is smaller.
Okay.
KB is width. So kilobit, and then we have megabit.
Mm.
So it's very small.
I'm having.
Did you email it already?
Well, I didn't email it already.
Oh,
so
okay.
that's
I
why,
was
because
just looking at it. I didn't see your email there. Okay.
I wanted to like make like an MB, but it wouldn't let me apparently because
Yeah,
it
just
keep,
send it as it is. Don't worry.
all right. And you know
I
what?
know there's issues, and what I'll do is I'll look at what the problems were, and we'll go back through those things later.
Oh boy. Oh
Yeah,
boy.
no,
oh
no
boy.
worries. No worries on that.
Another second issue is that when I tried to like send it in, it wouldn't let me as a PDF apparently when I tried to send it into your email because your Gmail or something like that.
No, it should it should be fine. My email set up so it should not bounce anything back. I'll give you the right one.
All right. Let's see.
So-
I'll write it down just in case. Okay. If you're
Yes, Daniel@newdesigns.com.
all right.
That's why I use my own email because the school email gets weird sometimes.
Okay. All right. I'll use your email. I think
Yeah.
I seen that in your website.
Yeah.
And the last question
Yeah.
is for the design project for your logo project. It
Mhm.
could be anything, correct? Like
Yeah, we're
literally-
just doing a travel agency, a travel company.
oh,
It
just
could be any name or anything you want.
oh, so
It
just
could
gotta
be
be
based on any kind of travel if you want.
like does like tech for like travel companies work?
Yeah.
Or-
Yeah, so I don't know, you could do like you could do space travel. You can get nuts, right? We in Chapman went to space. How cool is that? So it doesn't have to be like legit. It could be just, hey, I'm going to do a bus travel company or a company that does RV travel or a company that does a traditional travel that does airplanes and hotels and all that kind of stuff. It's totally up to you. You can get creative here.
All right. Thank you.
Mhm.
Have a good weekend.
You too.